This book is the sequel to Engaged in Death. I did that review about 2 weeks ago, and I've already forgotten which pictures I used for which characters. So if I accidentally switch hot boyfriend with evil ex-fiancé, please don't get mad at me.
Argofont Book Review, Argofont Book Review.
The first wedding at Mallory's bed and breakfast is going to be for Whitney Scanlon. Only the B&B hasn't been approved for commercial use yet, and the renovations aren't finished. And Whitney's been getting threatening notes, and Mom is coming to visit. Ugh. But the worst thing of all, Mallory still hasn't gone on a real date with her hot boyfriend, Garrett. Yeesh, I have a toddler, and I go out on more dates than these two. Rachel leans on the balcony railing, and it falls apart. The workers swear they just fixed it, so what happened? Ghosts, apparently. Rachel decides the house is haunted, which is bad for guests, but great for publicity. She calls a local ghost hunter to investigate. His name is Hunter, and he's super hot. Rachel and Hunter make a love connection, and I'm pretty sure he spends more time investigating her than investigating the house. Mallory visits the planning commission. The man in charge has purposely decided to ignore her application because his wife also owns a bed and breakfast, and they don't want competition. Back to the wedding. Whitney the bride is infamous in this town because she was the only witness to her mother's murder 20 years ago. Whitney's Aunt Angela runs an Italian restaurant while her Aunt Lois is on the planning commission. Lois offers to make all the planning problems disappear if Mallory makes it worth her while. Wink, wink. Speaking of which, this video was commissioned by one of my $10 Patreon supporters. Patreon! Technically not bribery. The page after Lois asks for a bribe, she collapses and dies from food poisoning. Now Mallory is the prime suspect in a murder mystery, again. And she has to take care of Lois's 3 Westies, because doggos are cute. Turns out that the town coroner is Garrett's ex-girlfriend, Natalie Nelson. She's cute and bouncy, and she's still totally into him. And, did I mention they actually went out on dates when they were dating? That's more than Mallory can say. Natalie tries to sabotage Mallory and Garrett's relationship by being cute, flirting with him a lot, and also leaning on the car horn when they're about to kiss. But her true colors eventually come through when she insults Garrett's daughter. Garrett tells Natalie off, and she goes away for good, unless she comes back in the sequel. There's also love drama with Mom, because the head contractor is Mom's ex-boyfriend. He even proposed to her before they broke up. Mom acts strange around him, and she gets her hair cut for the first time in decades. When she's not being evasive about her past, Mom makes horrible decisions while doing interior decorating. The contractor asks Mallory to help him get an engagement ring, although he refuses to say who it's for. Mallory assumes he's going to propose to Mom again, so Mallory panics and calls her stepfather. He flies in from out of state to beat up the contractor. It all turns out to be a misunderstanding, as he proposes to somebody totally unrelated to the wedding group. Whitney's maid of honor is her cousin Becca, who's marrying Mallory's ex-fiancé Keith. Apparently everyone's former loves were invited to this wedding book. Keith is just as awful as ever, and he brags he got Lois's spot on the planning commission just so he could deny Mallory's application. Wow, that is petty. Fortunately, it's all good, because the dogs chew up Keith's shoes and pee on him. Charity Jones, the next-door neighbor, stops by. She complains about the construction noise, and she freaks out when she hears they're gonna have an outdoor wedding there. The workers also freak out when someone turns on a buzzsaw and destroys the floor. They all quit. Hunter helps them get new contractors, but they also quit after a while. I guess construction workers are easily scared. Mallory is forced to go crawling to Keith's mother, Helene, in order to find new contractors and to get past the planning commission. The culprit breaks into Whitney's house and destroys everything, including the wedding dress. Mallory has to scramble to keep the wedding on track. They reappropriate the dress and rings that belong to Whitney's parents, which leads to the unhappy revelation that Whitney's mother was a jewelry thief. Hunter tries to do a seance in order to catch the ghost. It turns out the ghost is Charity. She tried to scare them off the property because she thought their construction noise was too loud. That seems like a weird motive for attacking someone's house, but we can't ask her for any details because she's dead. I find it a little too convenient that she died in a way that makes her look like the culprit. To be fair, I've read too many mysteries. The wedding rehearsal goes well until Whitney is arrested for Lois's murder. I love how the police wait until the most dramatic moment before arresting her. Mallory realizes that the real murderer is Hunter. His ghost hunting business is a front so he can steal money from people's bank accounts. He killed Lois and Charity because they discovered his criminal schemes. Hunter threatens to kill Mallory too, but he's distracted by the dogs and he gets arrested. Rachel is sad because this is the second time her boyfriend ended up being the culprit. Can she please date a normal person? The wedding goes perfectly. There's a slideshow, and one of the old photos shows Aunt Angela wearing the necklace which was found on Vanessa's corpse. Kind of amazing nobody noticed this earlier, especially since the town jeweler instantly recognized a ring that was stolen 20 years ago. Mallory confronts Angela. Just like Hunter, Angela pulls out a gun, gets distracted by a dog, and she's quickly arrested. At this point, I think the dog should be in charge of solving mysteries from now on. The end. Post-book follow-up. I like this book, and I particularly like the parts with Keith. He was so villainous and awful, it was great. I kind of wish there was more of him, even though there is no reason for Mallory to spend any time with this guy. I didn't like the mothers in this book. The subplot about Mallory's mom was a dud, and it felt like the book ignored Mom for at least 70 pages. The ending where Doug shows up and starts a fight was hilarious, but it's a little silly that the head contractor purposely misled Mallory into thinking he's going to propose to her mother. The head contractor also had a mother, Delilah, who reads people's tarot cards and keeps predicting doom. She shows up 4 or 5 times, and that's all she does. It seemed pointless and weird to me. I suppose she makes for a good fake-out suspect, but she wasn't even on my suspect list, mainly because I forgot about her when I was trying to figure out who the culprit was. Overall, it's an okay book. Ghost stories aren't my thing, but the mystery is more developed than the previous book, and the dogs are cute. I enjoyed the previous book more, but this one is a better book, and those two things sort of balance each other out, so I'll give it the same score. I give Murder Wears White, a wedding planner mystery number 2, a 9 out of 10.